Welcome to Art Scene. I'm always talking about special things in Memphis because I think Memphis is such a special city. Things that change how the world operates today came out of Memphis, Tennessee. One of our great attributes here is our entrepreneurial spirit. And I have a great entrepreneur with me today, Jay Myers. He wrote Keep Swinging, and we're going to get into that, Jay. But first of all, what do you do for a living? Other than write a great book.
Well, my day job is running a company called Interactive Solutions, and we do video conferencing, audio-visual type of products, sales and support. Proudly, the headquarters is here in Memphis, over in Germantown and Forest Hill, Irene Road, and then I also have an office in Nashville, and then guys scattered across the southeast, Knoxville, Chattanooga, Birmingham, Oxford, Mississippi, Little Rock, all those places.
But how did you get into it? Because you weren't a Mid-South mogul then.
No, I wasn't, and maybe
put
still.
It nicely.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I wish I could tell you this great story, Rhonda, about how the fact that I was this engineering type of guy, brilliant, and I came up with this new technology that was going to reinvent the world. Actually, I got fired, and I got fired from this company, it's a telecom company, local, that they fired me on my birthday. And I had just turned 39, and you know, I never.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday. Now, the funny thing about the story, which I can laugh now,
yes,
but in those days, I remember that he fired me at lunchtime. I didn't go back to the office, and I went to the house, and of course, I was devastated. I opened up the mailbox. The guy had sent me a birthday card.
Oh.
And literally, it was in the mailbox, and
and
it was there. So.
Happy birthday, and
happy birthday,
I'm glad you're home to read it.
Exactly.
So, out of necessity, which so much comes from, you started your own business.
I did.
But you were a career guy. You thought, here I am, telecommunications, I'll be with this company forever, or did you ever think that you were going to be out on your own? I mean, as a child, did you say, I'm going to be my own boss someday, or?
Well, you know, I'd worked for large corporations for several years, Eastman Kodak, Hewlett-Packard, and people like that. And, you know, I think I realized, working for those folks for probably 10, 12 years, you know, collectively or whatever, that, you know, I succeeded in things that were important to me, the sales functions and things they asked me to do, but I always had this thing in me that I didn't follow the rules. And I think that there was something inside of me that I didn't recognize until I got fired, that there was this, you know, this fire in me that I needed to ignite, and this flame and everything of entrepreneurship. And so I think I was always kind of thinking entrepreneurial type of thoughts and strategies, but it just took getting fired to kind of get me into it.
So maybe you were always subconsciously preparing yourself. I hate when people say, oh, when one door closes, another one opens,
right,
because I really think, no, that's not true. You make another door open because you have to. Because what is your alternative? To just lay down and die?
Exactly.
Curl up in a ball?
You can't.
No, you can't. So you get up and you do what you have to do. So you opened another door and you started your own business. And from that business comes this book. Tell me about this book. Why did you write it?
You know, it's interesting. I mean, I didn't go out seeking to be the famous author from Memphis or anything like that. I mean, what I was trying to do was really, quite honestly, to tell some stories of things that had happened to us, because I thought that there was some real interest there of a lot of stories of different things that I thought, you know, the numbers by themselves of stories were going to be interesting, and the variety of stories, whether it be telling the story about the fact that I got fired on my birthday and started the business, to starting a business with a business plan that was 6 pages long that had my pro forma and the financials hand typed because I didn't have a computer. And it's almost laughable if you read the book and everything about the fact I was going to banks around Memphis looking for financing
with this little
flimsy
paper,
yeah. And they say, yeah, Mr. Myers, you want to start a technology company and you don't have a computer.
You don't have any technology.
You don't have any technology, correct? So there's stories about that, and, you know, and I think that also some other stories about buying out a partner and the fear of going out on your own and you know, almost to the point of, you know, potential bankruptcy if it didn't work, for the, you know, calculated risk. And then there's a lot of drama in the first chapter about the big story in there, which was when we had an embezzlement where a lady stole about $250,000 from the business.
We want to talk about that, but what I'm hearing here is that just like as you were working for a corporation for 12, 15 years, in the back of your mind somewhere you were thinking about being an entrepreneur. When you became an entrepreneur, in the back of your mind you were thinking, you know what, this is a funny story. people would laugh at this, or this is a story that might make somebody else learn something. I think you had author in you all along as well.
Maybe so, and I think that the interesting thing, Rhonda, the book's been out for a couple of years now, and the feedback has just been amazing. I mean, just truly amazing. I'm so honored and so in awe of some of the reactions that people have given me about the book. I didn't really go out to try to necessarily inspire people, but I think that's what's happened.
Absolutely.
And,
when I read the book, I was very inspired by it.
I just was telling stories, and I think different from most business books, which you typically have these tips and all these kind of things. I've read a million of those, and some of them are all right, but I really wanted to create something new. I guess the entrepreneurial part of me is something new. Mm-hmm. And in the case of this book, with Keep Swinging, what I was trying to do was tell the stories from my viewpoint, what I was feeling at the time, when I got fired, what I was feeling at the time when I bought out the partner, and the tremendous fear we had and stress of dealing with all that. And then, of course, when the accounting manager stole the money. And there's a lot of drama in there, but there's also some practical things about some things that have worked for us as a business.
Yeah, without shoving it down somebody's throat, you're pointing out, this is what I learned, that you don't give someone power of attorney, or you don't, you right. do check your books, even though you've got a highly recommended bookkeeper that's in there. Money is a good thing and a bad thing.
Well, it really is, and I think in today's environment, 2009, you look at the situation, this book was written a couple of years ago, like I said, but do you think it got any better in the last 2 years? It's gotten worse, and as the economy has worsened, you've gotten people out there that are doing desperate things. They're walking away from mortgages, for God's sake, so anything can happen. And
when you say walk away from mortgage, you mean they're walking away from their homes.
Exactly. So, I think
home
there's...
is all you have.
Well, exactly, and I think there's some people that justify some of their actions because, gosh, the world's falling apart. And I think that the problem, particularly of this embezzlement, employee theft, and issues like that, are going to get larger and bigger in scope and everything as time goes on, and we fight our way through this recession.
We're always going to have it. There's always going to be a bad person at the top, near the top, that's doing bad things, because along with that money comes power. But really, the real story here is entrepreneur. Grand Memphis tradition. So what are some of the lessons that you would, or some of the tips that you would give entrepreneurs, especially in this climate, because a lot of people are facing, what do I do for a living? How do I pay for my mortgage, for my home?
Well, I think the first thing is do a business plan and take
more than 6 pages.
And more than 6 pages, and do it right, and spend the time to do that. The other thing for me, to go into business, into something that you know something about. Entrepreneurship is tough enough as it is, and the numbers are not good from startups.
Just don't start a restaurant if you haven't.
If you have no background, that's going to be tough for you. And then there's some basic things that I think a lot of guys like me will give tips about this. But things like, go into it with passion. Keep your eye on the prize, very focused type of thing, because it's a difficult task. And as an entrepreneur, you get hit with so many things, marketing, sales, finance, employee issues. You've got to be very quick on your feet. And then, I think at the end of the day also, resilience. I never knew until I opened up my own business how I would be tested to the core of my body and mind and soul of issues that have hit us personally and professionally that very frankly, if you'd have told me this 14 years ago when I started that these things would happen, I don't know that I would have known that I'd had the confidence to get through those issues, but we have, and we've learned a lot, and it's been very rewarding.